Okay guys, what I thought I'd do is create a video about my hair loss journey, and the hair loss mainly occurred between 18 and 24 years old. Between 18 and 21 it was quite gradual, quite slow, and then after 21 it accelerated quite rapidly, and I'll go into more detail in that further down the video. However, I thought I'd create a video to help you guys who may be going through a similar sort of thing, and to know that you're not alone. The problems that you may be having or the issues that you may be having are shared by other people who are also starting to lose their hair. So I thought I'd create this video to put it out there to show you that you're not alone in this, and yeah, hopefully it can help some of you. So in terms of my hair, when I did have it, it played quite a big part of my identity, I would say. It was quite a big sort of focal point in my image. I always used to like to style it, to try, different ways to sort of like wear my hair. I'd used to go to the barbers and ask for sort of different cuts. And then I think when I first started to sort of lose it, I thought I was losing part of my identity in a way. And I think that's maybe how some of you may feel as well, because you have a preperception of what it's like or what guys are like who are bald, and quite often it's negative. Okay, quite often it's negative, and that's because of the way it's portrayed in the media. I think personally it's quite a negative image. You do have some obviously positive male bold role models. Jason Statham for one is like quite a popular one, The Rock, but they're quite few and far between. Most of the time it's portrayed as in quite a negative light, and that it's a problem that should be worried about and should be tackled, where the way I want to approach it and the way I want to try and tell you guys it's a very natural thing. Okay, it's a very natural thing, and that it's not something you should be concerned about, and it's definitely not something which should take over your life. Okay, so let's go back and let's start with me at 18 years old. So when I was 18, I used to have my hair sort of medium length, I would say, and try quite a few different styles with my hair at medium length. Everyone always used to tell me how thick my hair was. They're like, oh, you'll never go bald. It's fine, your hair's really thick. Every time I used to go to the hairdressers or the barber, they used to be like, oh, your hair's so thick. I actually used to have a thinning comb go through my hair because that's how thick it was. And they used to have to take some weight out of my hair because it was that thick. Okay. And then obviously, I think the first sign that I saw was more hairs falling out in the shower or on my pillow. Okay, that was the first sign. I don't think I realised that at the time, that it was the start of me losing my hair. I just thought of it as something natural. Okay, because when you have a look online, as most of you will do, is Google online, oh, my hairs are starting to fall out. Is this balding? What is it? And a lot of the articles will tell you, no, it's fine, it's natural. You can lose up to 100 to 200 hairs a day. Okay, so I thought, yeah, fine. And you know what, for a lot of you that might be fine. This is just a personal thing. So if you are noticing more hairs in the shower or on the pillow, it may not be a sign of balding. Okay, this is just my own personal experience. Also at 18, I think because of that was the first time I actually started to try the products. So the very first product I got for hair loss was caffeine shampoo, and they tell you, on the labels and stuff like that, it will help slow down your hair, sort of restart the hair follicles again, keep it thick. So I was like, okay, just as a preventative measure, I'll go for that. I'll try the caffeine shampoo. So I tried them for a few months, didn't actually notice any difference. As with a lot of the products, I think, if we're being really truthful, there isn't actually much difference when you use them. But yeah, that was my first experience of products at 18. Although I didn't actually notice my thinning crown at the time, when I was looking back at videos for this video itself, I actually found a video where I bent down and you could see where there was the light shining through in my hair. So I think that was the start of it. So I'll play this video now and you can see it, and I'll put a photo of it, and I think that was a start. Even though that it wasn't very obvious, and the normal person couldn't tell. Now that I look back, I think that's what started it. And weirdly, my hair loss started at the crown rather than at the front. Okay, so most people, or a lot of people, get the hair loss at the front and it sort of recedes back, whereas I got it at the back here. Okay, so at 19, I think that was the first time someone actually pointed out to me that I was starting to lose my hair at the back of my head. And I think it might have actually been my mum. And a lot of these times, I think when people point it out to you, when I've watched a lot of videos about it, or people have told me their own experiences, or when someone first told them that they can see that they're losing their hair, I don't often think it's done in a malicious way. It's more an observation. And I think, if I remember correctly, what I was doing is just doing something on the floor, and I was, crouched down. And then as my mum came over, she was like, "Oh, you're starting to go a little bit thin here." And I was like, "Nah, surely not. I think it's fine. I think it just must be the way my crown is or something." And I sort of denied it at first, but then obviously the seed is in your mind, as a lot of you will know. And once someone's told you, it's very hard to get it out. So I was sort of checking with the mirror, and I think at the time I thought, no, it's fine. But that was obviously on my way to getting thinner and thinner here at my crown. At 19, I was still also, messing around with different styles, because I thought, not really an issue yet. Was continued trying all these different styles at the barber shop. So yeah, at this point, it didn't really play a big point. Although the seed was there, I didn't think about it very often. I sort of just checked it out once, thought, no, it's fine, and then moved on. So let's go on to 20 years old. So at 20 was the first time I decided to go for like the skin fade style, which was starting to come in at the time. I was at university, so obviously wanted to look good. And yeah, at 20, it was just more of the same really from that I had at 18 and 19 years old. It didn't really play a big part in my mind just yet. What I did notice increasingly was more hairs after I washed my hair in the shower and on my pillow. But visually, you couldn't really see it yet. Now that I think back, you could see it. You just could see the start of it, but to sort of the naked eye, and if you didn't really think about it or you didn't know it was there, you would not be able to tell. So that was 18 to 20, which, as I said, was a very sort of slow progression of the hair loss. So now we'll move on to age 21, where I noticed it picked up rapidly. So at 21 was when I started to become a lot more paranoid about the hair loss at my crown. Before this, I didn't really think about it, but at 21, when it really started to progress, I was starting to take photos of the back of my head a lot more frequently. I was checking it every morning with a mirror behind my head, seeing how it looked, see if it looked worse. And I think now that I look back, that was definitely some sort of that even though I didn't really tell anyone at the time, that was definitely a big worry of mine. I was thinking, oh, are other people starting to notice this? And I think I was trying to kid myself almost. So I was thinking, no, that's just the way my crown is. Surely it's always been like that. It's always, I even used to tell myself it was quite a spread out crown, which is why you could see through, which is just ridiculous, right? I thought maybe my crown was particularly spread out. And just coming up with these reasons as to why it was the way it was rather than accepting it. But I think subconsciously I knew. And then I also used to try different styles. So where I just used to try different styles for pleasure before, I think now I've sort of went for styles which covered the back of my head. So I'll show the photos of this. One of the styles that I went for was the slicked back style. So I tried to grow out the front of my hair so that I could slick it back. And I think the reason why I was starting to do that was to sort of cover this longer hair here, to cover the back of my crown. But it didn't really work, guys. Okay, I think it got to that point where it was so thin that even with the hair over the top, you could still see through, which the photos will show you now. What I began to notice as well at 21 was the wispiness, okay, where the hair was starting to thin. So I know a lot of you guys will also have the same thing, where your hair is beginning to thin, it starts to get a little wispy. So when the wind blows it, it just sort of stands in that direction. So I've got a photo of this to show where you can see, I think I'm feeding like an alpaca or a llama, and the wind has blown my hair, and the back of my hair here is just stood up straight and it doesn't sit back down. And I don't know what the reason is behind that. I think maybe it's the weight of the hair, because it's thin, it just sort of stays up. But that was another sort of telltale sign. So age 22, it just got even worse. Okay, so the hair loss progressed very rapidly. I was beginning to take more photos, check it more frequently, sometimes a few times a day. Was trying different styles again to sort of cover it. I went for this sort of choppy style to make my hair look thicker and to cover the crown, and it did look okay. But again, it's just sort of killing yourself, and it's a disguise, and you're sort of lying to yourself as to what's happening. So I just didn't feel great about it, guys. I think that's what it was. I think I sort of knew myself and I was trying to hide something. This was also the point as well where I was beginning to get conscious of people looking at the back of my head in particular, especially when I'm sat in lecture halls. Okay, so I never really had this sort of problem before, but you know, trying to get these seats near the back of the lecture hall so people couldn't see at the back of your head. So it was all this kind of stuff, guys, which obviously I never had a problem with before. And I know some of you will be going through the same things where you think, oh, I don't want someone to stand behind me so they can't see it. That's not right, guys. Okay, it shouldn't be that way. But yeah, that's the stage that I was getting to. I also went to a barbershop at the time, which a lot of sort of middle-aged guys went to in the area that I lived. And I actually told one of the hairdressers there, I was like, look, I think my hair's going a bit thin. Like, obviously I hadn't really spoken to anyone about it, but when I got the haircut, I said to her, look, I think it's just going a bit thin here at the crown. And she was like, no, it's fine. Like, if you're feeling conscious about it, I can do a style to sort of help cover it. And obviously, now that I look back, she must have been an expert at this, right? Because obviously all these middle-aged guys came into the shop and she just knew what to do to sort of make it look the best it could. And she did, to be fair. The style that she did looked pretty good. I'll show you a video of that. And it was just sort of the longer hair was swept in a certain direction. And she says, well, you know, if you want to keep it looking like that, you'll have to hair dry it in that direction every morning. So I'll start to do that, which obviously added a lot more to my morning routine and was just getting exhausting, guys. It was getting tiring. So now we moved on to age 23, which is actually a very significant year for my hair loss journey. And this was the year that I first went for a buzz cut, which I advocate for a lot of you guys who are starting to lose their hair. And weirdly, one of the kickstarters for this was actually COVID-19. So in many parts of the world, and certainly in the UK, when COVID hit, everything went into lockdown, all the barbershops were closed, and I thought, right, now's an ideal time to shave off my hair, as many other people were doing. I wanted to do it for a while anyway, as I thought, you know, that it could have looked quite good and it would have sort of helped disguise the thinning at the back, because if the hair was shorter at the front, then it was less noticeable at the back. And it did work, guys. I thought it was a very good sort of route to go down, especially if you don't want to shave it all off completely. So I went for probably a grade 4 or 5 buzz cut, and I thought, you know, if it looks terrible, it's fine, no one's going to see me anyway, let's just go for it. And I did it. I have the video up here showing you my first ever buzz cut, and you know what, guys, I absolutely loved it. I loved it, and I kept this look for a few months. So that's the reason why age 23 is a very important milestone for me. And I think it did actually help as well, the appearance of the hair loss. I think it looked much better with a buzz cut than it did with longer hair. So let's move on to age 24. So at age 24, after keeping the buzz cut look that I first did in the COVID-19 lockdown, I decided to grow my hair out again. I thought, you know what, let's give it one more shot. Let's see what it looks like. I thought maybe something had changed. I don't know why I thought this. I thought, you know, maybe it looks okay. Maybe I was just imagining it. Okay, maybe I was just imagining the hair loss, because I kept it short for quite a few months. I sort of almost forgotten about it. And I thought, you know what, let's grow out the hair again. Let's see what it looks like. And I did, guys. I'll show you some photos of what it looked like. And as soon as I started growing it out again, all those worries came back in terms of, oh, how does it look? It looks thin. It doesn't look good. I was checking every morning, trying different styles to hide it again. I've taken a few photos and videos which I'll put up now as to how it looked, and you could tell even from age 23 that the hair loss had progressed even further, guys. Okay, so right at the back of the head there was a significant amount of hair missing, and it brought back those worries. okay, it brought back those worries. So I thought I'd go with my first approach that I did at age 23. I liked the look of the buzz cut and I thought I can go one better than that. And this is when I did the grade 1 buzz cut for the first time. So it's the shortest I've ever gone. I went for grade 1. I'll put the photo up of how it looked. And again, absolutely loved it, guys. And I think what it made me realize was that cutting your hair that short, you shave away the worries almost. There's nothing to hide. So then you're not conscious of it. Okay, if you shave all of your hair off, then you know, you've got nothing to hide and you're not trying to disguise it. And I think that's a big weight lifted off your shoulders. And that's what I advocate for a lot of people. It really felt as though I took back control of it and I wasn't thinking about it anymore. I stopped taking the photos. I stopped checking my hair every morning because when you buzz cut your hair to grade 1, you know what your hair looks like. There's no point checking the back of it because all of you is pretty much bald. So it alleviates a lot of worries. In terms of the initial reactions of people, some people were quite shocked, like, oh, why did you do that? Because a lot of people, you know, didn't realise I was beginning to lose my hair. They thought it was quite a drastic thing to do, but I didn't receive any negative comments at all. And I think that's a very similar story to most people who decide to shave their hair off, is that they don't actually receive many negative comments, which just shows, doesn't it, that most of it's in your head. Most of it's in your head. When you shave it, people actually aren't that fussed. And the actual benefit is to you. Now, I'm not saying that for everyone, shaving your hair off will solve all the problems, but I definitely think it's a step in the right direction. 100%. So now let's move on to the current day, how I feel, and just a summary of my journey so far. So, as I said, guys, my hair loss journey really started at 18 when I started to notice more hair on my pillow and after a shower. And then the very rapid progression of the hair loss was between 21 and 24. Okay, and I went through a lot of the struggles that most people who lose their hair go through. And that's why I wanted to share this video. So I didn't really go into too much depth into what I looked into the solutions. This is more just about my own personal journey that I wanted to share. And one big thing I want to tell you guys is that it did start an overall self-improvement journey for me. So after I decided to shave it all off, it sort of kick-started something. So I felt like I could leave a chapter of my life behind and move on to something new. And after that, I've been on a big self-improvement journey, and it's just improved my life in so many other areas. So one thing I've started to do is, because I really want to help you guys who may be in a similar situation, is I have set up one-to-one coaching, which you can see in the link below, to help you guys, especially if you're currently in the situation that I was, and to help you through that. So guys, that's the end of my hair loss journey. I really hope it may have helped some of you guys out. And if you are in the situation that I was, I want you guys to know that, you know, things do get better. Don't let it hold you back. There's so much more to life than worrying about your hair. And then just live your best life, guys, okay? Subscribe to my channel, and then there'll be lots more hair loss videos and self-improvement videos on the way. Take care, guys.